Have you ever wondered how the world as we know it came to be? How did we come to discover and understand the vastness of our planet? Our story begins in the 15th century, with the dawn of the age of exploration and discovery. This was a time when curiosity, ambition, and a thirst for knowledge propelled humanity to venture beyond the familiar and into the unknown. The world was no longer a flat surface on a map. It was a vast, open expanse waiting to be explored. One of the key motivations for exploration was the desire for new trade routes. The traditional land routes to the east were dangerous and arduous, and the potential for wealth from trade with Asia was enormous. Spices, silks, and other exotic goods were in high demand, and the nations of Europe were eager to establish direct trade links. But it wasn't just about trade. There was a spirit of human curiosity, a burning desire to know what lay beyond the horizon. This was the era of the Renaissance, a time of intellectual and cultural flowering. People were eager to learn, to discover, to push the boundaries of what was known. Of course, these ambitions would have remained dreams if not for the technological advancements of the period. The development of the compass and the astrolabe, the refinement of ship designs and the invention of more accurate maps and charts, all made long sea voyages possible. Sailors could now navigate with greater precision and confidence, venturing further from their home shores than ever before. These advancements changed the way people saw the world. The globe was no longer a mystery, filled with mythical creatures and imagined lands. It was a tangible, measurable, and navigable space. The age of exploration and discovery was a time of daring voyages, of new horizons, of the human spirit pushing against the boundaries of the known world. This was the period that set the stage for the world as we know it today. It was a time of tremendous change and discovery, a time that shaped our understanding of the world and our place within it. The age of exploration and discovery was not just about finding new lands, it was about discovering ourselves. So, who were the main actors in this grand theater of discovery? Let's take a moment to shine the spotlight on a few key players. First, let's begin with Christopher Columbus, an Italian explorer sailing under the Spanish flag. He's a household name, and for good reason. Columbus set out with a bold idea, to reach Asia by sailing west, a route no one had ever tried before. He didn't find Asia, but he did stumble upon a whole new world, literally. His discovery of the Americas in 1492 opened up a new chapter in human history, connecting two parts of the world that had been separated for millennia. Next, let's talk about Vasco da Gama, a Portuguese explorer who was the first European to reach India by sea. Da Gama's journey around the Cape of Good Hope at the southern tip of Africa was fraught with danger, but his arrival in India in 1498 opened up a direct sea route from Europe to Asia. This had enormous implications for trade, breaking the monopoly that Arab, Turkish, and Italian merchants held on the lucrative spice trade. Our final key player is Ferdinand Magellan, another explorer sailing under the Spanish flag. Magellan's expedition was the first to circumnavigate the globe, proving once and for all that the world was round. Despite facing mutinies, storms, and battles, Magellan's expedition completed their journey around the world in 1522, 3 years after Magellan himself was killed in the Philippines. His legacy, however, lives on. These explorers and many others were driven by a thirst for knowledge, a desire for wealth, and a spirit of adventure. They faced incredible hardships, from uncharted seas to unknown lands, and yet they pressed on. Their discoveries, whether intentional or accidental, changed the course of history, opening up new trade routes, connecting distant cultures, and reshaping our understanding of the world. These adventurers and their daring voyages truly reshaped our understanding of the world. Now let's delve into the heart of what was discovered during this age. During the age of exploration, the world as the Europeans knew it expanded dramatically. Explorers driven by curiosity, ambition, and the allure of potential wealth set sail into the unknown, charting new courses and venturing into unexplored territories. The most significant of these discoveries was, of course, the New World. The voyages of Christopher Columbus in the late 15th century revealed the existence of two vast continents unknown to the Europeans, North and South America. These lands were brimming with diverse cultures, languages, and peoples, from the Inca and Aztec empires in the south to the Iroquois and Cherokee tribes in the north. But the New World was not the only discovery. In the east, explorers like Vasco da Gama found a sea route to India. This was a game changer. For centuries, the Europeans had yearned for a direct sea route to the east that would bypass the arduous and dangerous land routes. With this new path to India, the The Europeans could now directly access the rich spices, silks, and precious stones of the East, fueling a boom in trade and wealth. But the discoveries didn't stop there. New goods and resources were introduced to Europe, transforming everyday life. Tomatoes, potatoes, and corn, staples of the American diet, were brought back and quickly became integral parts of European cuisine. Precious metals like gold and silver flowed into European coffers, driving economic growth. Even seemingly mundane items like tobacco and cotton had profound impacts, shaping economies and societies in ways that are still felt today. Each new discovery, each new encounter with unfamiliar cultures and societies, expanded the European worldview. People began to realize the immense diversity and complexity of the human race, challenging long-held beliefs and assumptions. These discoveries not only expanded the world map, but also our understanding of human cultures and societies. So how did these discoveries impact the world? Well, let's dive in and find out. The Age of Exploration had far-reaching effects, culturally, economically, and politically. We're talking about a period that was a catalyst for the globalization we see today. The scope of these impacts is vast, but let's start with the cultural implications. As explorers from Europe reached distant lands, they brought with them their customs, traditions, and beliefs. This led to a significant cultural exchange. Western art, music, and religion spread to other parts of the world, while Europe got a taste of exotic cultures, cuisines, and philosophies. This period was a melting pot of cultures, shaping societies in ways that continue to resonate even today. But the effects were not only cultural. Economically, the Age of Exploration was a game-changer. European nations established colonies around the world, tapping into a wealth of resources they had never known before. From the spices of the East to the gold and silver of the New World, these newfound commodities fueled economic growth, leading to a rise in trade and commerce. The world had become a much smaller place, and the global economy as we know it began to take shape. Politically, the Age of Exploration brought about seismic shifts in power. With the establishment of colonies, European nations extended their influence far beyond their borders. They dictated terms, made alliances, and waged wars in distant lands. The geopolitical landscape was being redrawn, and the balance of power was shifting in favor of these intrepid explorers. However, it's important to note that these impacts were not always positive. The Age of Exploration was also a time of conflict, exploitation, and widespread disease. It was a period marked by the struggles of indigenous peoples, and the harsh realities of colonial rule. In the end, the Age of Exploration was a turning point in history. It reshaped the world in countless ways, paving the way for the interconnected, globalized society we live in today. The ripples of this age can still be felt, echoing through the centuries. The Age of Exploration left a lasting legacy that continues to shape our world today. So, what can we take away from this Age of Exploration and discovery? As we've seen, it was an era that fundamentally reshaped the world, driven by curiosity, ambition, and the courage to venture into the unknown. It was a time when the unfamiliar corners of the globe were illuminated, as daring explorers charted new territories and opened up routes for trade, cultural exchange, and scientific advancement. To start, we delved into the dawn of exploration, witnessing how the thirst for knowledge, wealth, and power ignited a global age of discovery. We saw how the invention of the compass, the astrolabe, and the caravel made sea voyages into uncharted waters possible, and how these tools, in the hands of adventurous souls, changed the world. We then met the key players, the intrepid explorers who dared to venture beyond the known world. From Christopher Columbus's voyage to the Americas, Vasco da Gama's journey to India, to Ferdinand Magellan's audacious circumnavigation of the globe, we recognized their contributions and the indelible marks they left on history. We also explored the discoveries these voyages yielded, the new lands, cultures, and resources that were unveiled. We saw how these discoveries led to the exchange of ideas, goods, and even diseases, which in turn resulted in profound shifts in global power dynamics and societal structures. Finally, we reflected on the impact of this era, the profound and far-reaching consequences that continue to shape our world today. We considered how the Age of Exploration was not just about discovering new lands, but also about the cultural, scientific, and economic exchanges that followed, which have fundamentally shaped our modern world. There are lessons to be learned from this era, such as the importance of curiosity, the courage to face the unknown, and the value of cultural exchange. The age of exploration serves as a reminder that our world is interconnected, that the actions of a few can have widespread impacts. As we continue to explore and discover, we carry forward the legacy of those brave explorers who ventured into the unknown. And remember, if you enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating stories.